Hi, everyone. Welcome back to what is this show called? It's called No Segues. I am Danette, and I am here today with Lana Siebel. Siebel, is that?
Perfect.
Yeah, all
Perfect.
right.
Yes.
She is a stand-up comedian from Brooklyn, New York, and we're just gonna talk some shop today. Welcome, Lana.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Danette. I think you're a fantastic comedian, so I'm really happy to finally get to chat with you.
I picked the right person to interview today.
Ah.
How are
Appreciate
you?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Today's
It's been
Friday. How's your Friday going?
today's Friday, same as Tuesdays. No. They're okay. They're okay. My son's in school finally. He's 8. So I get to get a lot of stuff done. But yeah, it's definitely been a very interesting year. I don't know if we're gonna talk about it, or I know some people pretend it didn't exist, so I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
we can talk about it. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. I don't think I've,
Yeah.
I don't know how many interviews deep I'm in, but I don't think I've mentioned, well, I kind of
Yeah.
mention it by saying, how are you taking care of yourself during this time? That's
That's
how I
good.
mention it. Yeah. What grade is your son
That's
in?
He's in 3rd grade. And So the schools around, so I'm in Crown Heights now, but I grew up like all over Brooklyn pretty much, because like we're like priced out of every neighborhood. So now we're getting priced of Crown Heights. We've been here like 9 years. But the schools around here are like college tuition. They're so expensive.
Mhm.
I have a whole thing about that. So
Is
he
it private?
goes
Are you going to is he going to private school?
So he's going, yeah, like 45 minutes away to Catholic school. Even though I'm Jewish, my husband's like Italian American, I'm Russian Jewish. I think we're just going to confuse him. Maybe he's going to be Buddhist. I don't know. But
Maybe.
he's very confused at this point, which is great. That's what we were going for.
Of course. So is your husband Catholic?
He is, but he's so not religious.
Yeah,
I'm not religious either.
of
We're both
course.
completely not religious. It was just Catholic school is so much cheaper, and it was really, really like it's a nice school.
Cheaper
Yeah.
than Jewish school?
Cheaper than, well, I went to yeshiva myself, but it was a very strange circumstance. It was like a yeshiva for other Russian Jewish refugees.
Okay.
So it was definitely an interesting experience as well.
So
Um,
did they not give you like the full course because you were a refugee?
yeah, I think it was an all girls school, and my parents would go speak with a principal, and she would say things like, geography, the only place they need to know is Israel, and they were like, you're getting out of here after 8th grade. You
Yeah.
need to, it was yeah, very
Like you like
chauvinistic.
escaped brainwashing basically.
Yeah, and yeah.
Because if you're taught that, then it's like, yeah, like Israel all the way or nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you're so just narrow minded. I think for any extreme group, it's just not a good way to be. So yeah, this
No.
Catholic school, he said, my son, he says things like, I'm Jewish, so he doesn't have to do mass. So he's very excited about like him being the only person. So he's very
Does he
open
really say
minded.
that?
Yeah, we were like, he was like, oh, I didn't have to do mass. And we were like, why? And he goes, because I'm Jewish. So he like embraces whatever culture is convenient at the time, which is great.
That is
That's
awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
He sounds like a native New Yorker.
He really, yes, very much. And he's really funny because he's got like me and my husband, we grew up like listening to rap and hip hop. So we're like all about that. And he just wants to listen to like Bee Gees and Tom Jones and like the 70s.
Wow.
He's really into the disco era. Yeah. We're like, how old are you? Like,
Where do
can
you
we
think he got that from?
I have no idea. Maybe it's like, every kid has like their source of rebellion.
Oh
So
yeah.
maybe that was his like,
Like
I'm
funk
gonna do my own
Jay-Z.
thing.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
gonna do
I'm gonna
Tom
listen to Bee
Jones.
Gees. Yeah, exactly. Tom Jones every day. We know every single Tom Jones song. Yeah.
He also sounds like he might be like an act, like an entertainer, you know?
He is. Yeah. He already told us since he was really little, he wants to be like a actor, director, comedian, producer, and food critic.
Oh, that's it.
Very, yeah.
He's
he's got it down.
yeah. Does he have a YouTube channel yet?
I think he should. We started filming a little bit because he made me, and he was such a perfectionist. I was like, we'd spend days. I have headaches. He had to be in a suit. I mean, this guy's going places. I can't. I'm like, you gotta, you gotta let me open for you. He's
Wow.
like, how much money do you make doing this? He's like, and he wants 50%. So he's like a crooked agent already at this point. Yeah.
Wow, he's already
Yeah.
talking to me.
He is. I know. I'm like, I wish at 8 I was thinking about that. I mean,
He's
thank
smart.
God. Yeah, he's
What a
interesting.
blessing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Wow. So you're
Yeah.
basically gonna be able to pick up tips from him in a little bit.
I'm hoping he could like teach me TikTok and YouTube and everything.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah.
Speaking of TikTok, are you on TikTok?
You know what? I started back when the quarantine just started, and then I was just looking at cute babies and puppies, and there's so many videos of fat babies and puppies that I would get trapped in like this loophole for 4 hours. Like 4 hours later, I'm like, I haven't done anything. Like, so I had to get off. And then I went back on like a month ago, and I just made 2 videos because again, it's just so I have to like focus on putting out the videos. And I don't know, I wanted to ask you, like, the material that we work so hard for, and then we go out and perform, I'm not sure if it's the best to put it on. I don't know.
I think
And
it
then,
depends on the person. Because like the other thing too is that like if you have a bit that you put on TikTok or on Instagram and people love it and like you for it, they might come to see you just for you to say that one bit.
yeah,
They might be
yeah,
like, oh, like tell me tell me that favorite bit that you just shared on, like, I'm here because of this bit that you said that was funny, and so now tell me again. But it
that's a
also,
good point of view.
yeah, I think it also will force you to just write more because
Yeah.
that material will be, you probably would get tired of it and people would probably want to hear something fresh. So yeah. So
Yeah. I'm gonna try to, because it is really like I'm also a bit of like a perfectionist, so I really wanted to get like a good angle and just look right. And so the
yeah,
videos I did, I was happy because like the first one got like 400 views or something, and these people, I don't even
that's amazing.
no,
Wow.
yeah. So I have to keep doing it, and I just because I'm like, oh, look at this, he's getting thousands and millions, a couple of hundred. So I have to
Just do it. Yeah.
be more positive about
Yeah.
it. I'm glad I'm talking to you.
Cool. Yeah, because I've always been wanting, since I started stand up, I wanted to interview people because I just love talking to people, seeing their perspective, getting advice, getting like, just, it's fun for me to get to know people. So I always knew I wanted to interview. And then I just kept pushing it off, pushing it off, pushing it off because it's like, it's not perfect. The lighting, the setting, the hair, the makeup,
See, this is why I like you. I feel that you put out a good product, right? Yeah. I
yeah.
feel you.
But at this point, especially with the quarantine, like you said, you were looking at fat babies and like dogs. It's like that put you at ease, right? So I feel like a lot of these
Absolutely. Yeah.
videos that are out, they might not be perfect, but they're putting people at ease. And that's kind of one of the things that I like. Because,
See, I
yeah.
like that a lot.
Yeah. Because right
Yeah.
now I've been listening to Theo Vaughn's podcast a lot, and Mark
Oh yeah.
Norman and Sam Morrill have a
I love.
podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when I'm like not performing and I'm home, I'm like, oh, and then I'll put on the YouTube video and I'll just feel like I feel like I'm with friends, or I feel like I'm not, alone.
Absolutely. I love. I can hear them talk shop all day. Also, yeah, I listen to like Amy Schumer and Mark Maron, and yeah, Mark Norman. Any interview he has, I love listening to.
Yeah. With Mark's a lot of sex talk.
Yeah.
And like anytime like there's two dudes talking, it's always gonna like it's always gonna come down to dicks and
Yes.
alcohol. And I'm like, okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's always going to be the penis jokes. Yep. It's
So what got you into stand up?
Oh wow. Okay. So how much time do we, so I used to I actually wanted to ask you, but it is you're interviewing me about you and TikTok.
It's fine.
Are you on?
We can take turns.
Yeah. I'm just curious if you're on TikTok, and I definitely will follow and all that good stuff.
I'm not on TikTok. My sister sent me some videos, and then in order for me to look at them, I had to sign in. And then when I was signing in, I saw that it said, "Do you promise to give your soul away?"
Yes.
And I said, "No, thank you."
That stopped me a few times. Yes.
And then,
but
yeah.
On Instagram Reels, would you ever? Because I loved your clip. Yeah.
Which clip are you talking about?
So I just listened to the one from Gotham. I think it
Oh,
was a web. So good. Oh my gosh.
thank you. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
my first time performing at Gotham. I was so nervous. Oh my God. Like my heart was in my throat like for the whole like first half hour. It was or the first hour or however long it took for me to get on stage, my heart was like in my throat the whole time.
You
Um
can't see it. You're so like your delivery's so like timed out well. You seem so
um,
calm. Yeah. So
Thank you. It's
great
funny because
job.
like now I see all the errors. Now I'm like, oh, what's that? What's that? What's that? What's that? But
Oh, I can't watch myself. I can't watch myself. I have to like edit. I should edit videos and clips, but I'm like, I can't watch. It's like so painful to hear your own voice. I
you
don't know what it
have to
is.
do it. I
Yeah.
think you have to
Yeah.
do. I think even like athletes do it. Like basketball
Yeah.
players, they even look at their games. So, because think
Yeah.
about
When
it,
I,
if you can't look at it, then why? How can we look at it?
absolutely. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Here, you look at it. I don't want to look at my own. Yeah. Yeah. When I was, I don't know if I should get into this, but when I was, so I used to be, I guess we can go into your question. I used to be a Latin dancer. I know I'm Russian, I'm
Yeah, I think I
Ukrainian,
remember that
Jew.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really did, I was ranked 7th in the United States. I would travel
Ranked.
internationally.
I'm sorry. Ranked when? Like what number?
I was ranked 7th in the United States. I
Wow.
did the nationals. Thank you, thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, it was my whole life. It was I'm so glad I got out of competing, but just for so many reasons. But all those people on Dancing with the Stars that I really did grow up with them, and we would have like similar rankings, and like I know them as people,
That
and
is so
they're
cool.
horrible people, horrible people. I just want everybody to know
They're horrible.
they're like horrible. Like I mean, I guess I got along with everybody kind of, but I think I checked out like mentally because it wasn't for me. But yeah, they were just everyone's like so obviously competitive and cutthroat and vicious and just it was really very toxic to
How
be
long were you?
around.
How long were you in that?
So I started when I was about 11, and then I got really serious by the time I was like 14, and then I would start to travel all over the United States around like 16, 17, and internationally. So till about like 23, very heavily, and then I competed for a few more years, and then I'm like, I can't. So it was like, but by the time you're like in your late 20s, you're considered like a senior citizen in the
Sure.
dance world. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah.
was
But
it just good timing then that you were starting to
yeah.
like age out and then
Yeah, I think so. And also like there's just so much dysfunction with it. And making a living to do it seemed like a bit of a scam to me. I mean, yeah, there's ways where you can, open up a studio, but mainly a lot of these like the people you see on Dancing with the Stars, the way they would make their money is by like convincing students to go on competitions with them, and that's how they would fund their
like
travel and hotel. And it just like you hear stories about students selling their like mortgages and homes so they can fund their dancing career, and I was like, I can't, this just feels very scummy and
yeah.
not right.
So
Yeah.
it also sounds very salesy, right? So you have to like
Yeah.
sell
I
that
it
into.
does. Yeah, not a lot of creativity involved.
So when you
Yeah.
stopped doing that,
Yeah.
were you like in a clear positive place of like I'm not doing
No.
this, or were you like in a
Ter-
oh my God, is this like the
It was a
worst
very
mistake?
messy. Yeah, it was
Mhm.
very, I was like, I had to get over it for a while. Cause you when you're competing and that's like your whole life, it's like your whole regiment. It was so weird. It was like a metamorphosis. Like my body would start, cause you're like, so, doing
Regimented?
it 6 hours. Yeah. Regimented, that it was like, my body would get like, oh, I'd have to get, humble myself again. Cause, I get like a lot bigger, and it was like funny how people treated me differently too. When you like put on it was a whole thing. But I was happy that I found acting, so I started acting when I was like 20, 21, and really fell in love with that, and got to like really train with some of the best people and actors, and so I started doing that for a while, and got to do like a lot of film students and uh, student films. Sorry, I'm out of it already. Student films, I didn't film students. And so yeah, that became, and then I always wanted to do comedy since I was little. Like it felt kind of, I don't think I really knew what it was, but I felt like everybody would tell me, I was very like chubby and awkward, and people would and say dumb things all the time, and people would say that I'm really funny, my friends, and like, so I made the big mistake of doing improv because I was too chicken to do stand up. And, I really felt like Michael Scott from The Office. Like I just didn't feel like I belong, and like everybody wanted to go out, except like I felt like I was like a scene killer. Because I just didn't know their references. Everyone was like so cool, and like, and I'm like, just I don't know, a native Brooklynite from Ukraine who's like,
yeah,
it doesn't have their reference.
And then after that experience, you decided like to dip your toe in the stand-up world.
Yes. Then finally I was like, why did I, it took me so long. Like it was like years and years. I think I was thinking about it for like 8 years to just get the balls to do it. Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you do have at that time you had a family, right? Did you have
no, well, I had, I was still with my husband for a while, but, so I started doing stand-up when my son was 2, and he really motivated me to leave the house. So it was so he keeps telling me to this day, I made you a professional comedian. It's because of me that you're so it's true. Yeah, if it wasn't for him, I think like I really narrowed down what I really want to do, and he really helped me to just like kick me out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Also, I love that you first of all, I love dance. Like I love it. When I was little, I used to live in Puerto Rico, and we used to watch a show called Sábado Gigante, and they would have like dancers. Sometimes they would have like little kids dancing like tango and like bachata, like not bachata, more of the ballroom dancing, and the way their bodies moved. And then of course they would have like, people in their 20s. It wasn't just the little kids. But just seeing like the way the body moves and the outfits, I love it. That's so cool that you did that.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, like speaking to you, who actually is Latino, I'm glad I stopped competing, because it feels wrong. Like I feel like I was like appropriating, all these Russians are appropriating the culture. Like I love the Latin culture, but I think I was really trying to be Latina. I was just really, the self tanner. I don't know. It's all very weird to me. I think it should be claimed by, but I don't know. It's a very strange thing.
Yeah, I mean the thing about appropriation is, I feel like it's a complicated thing, right? Because like you listen to Jay-Z and rap music, right? That's technically a lot Black. So, but you're just enjoying the music, you're enjoying the culture. So
I don't know. I think that's different, because that's like you enjoying the culture, and it kind of becomes a part of your culture. But the dancing thing, where people are like putting on self tanner and bronzer, and I don't know, just something about it feels very wrong to me, and taking somebody's culture and making their livelihood, that feels like a whole different thing. I don't know. But maybe I'm glad you're more accepting than I am. I'm a little,
I mean, unless they were purposely like leaving, unless they were purposely not picking dancers that were Latin, and they were only
that's true,
European dancers, and I feel like that's like messed up. But if it
you're right, that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. You're right. It was just like, I guess the Russians like treated it like work. Like little kids were like, that's it, it's time to go and work, and just even we don't care if we like it or not, we just got to do it.
I was surprised though when I was watching the ballroom dancing. I was always surprised that most of them were European. I was like, what?
It's very it's very strange.
But your body must have been so tight, wow, right?
Okay, so I'm sorry, I know we're trying to be cheery, but it's like a whole bunch of eating disorders. I had so many, which I talk about in my stand-up, like because I'm not naturally thin. And a lot of these again, I'd say 95% of these dancers are either diet pills or eating disorder, I had a whole bunch of eating disorders like anorexia, bulimia, diet pills. Because, and then I was still, they would still say when I had like massive eating disorders, like, oh, she's curvy. I'm like, I am not, I'm 100 pounds. I'm not curvy. I'm super thin. Like I'm starving. So it was crazy pressure.
Do you think it's possible for someone to compete on that level, not dieting, like just, like diet, like eating well, but not like having to be a certain number.
You know what? There was literally like one or two women, and they would be like, "Oh, whoa, look at them! They're like huge, but they were like, it's just such a like from like one comedian to another. It's like kind of like everyone was very condescending and insulting, but at the same time, I really admire those women for like just loving. Like I don't know what they really felt inside, but they really held themselves. And honestly, they were called like very big and huge, but they were like a size 8 or 10, which is like
Right.
normal. So it's like everyone is so slim, and I guess some are natural. There's very few, but really it's that is rare.
I imagine
Yeah.
when everyone saw those women in their fullness, they were
Yeah.
probably considered cows, right? Like people would think, oh, look
Yeah.
at these cows. But meanwhile,
Yeah.
it's like, because that's insulting, right? To call someone a
Very,
cow.
absolutely.
But they're healthy. Like they're size 8 or whatever, size 10.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very healthy. And they looked amazing. I think they look, it's also, it's just the whole, it's a lot of very unhealthy things where like probably the men were also a lot of pressure. And then like, um, there's most of the men are not straight. So I guess it's a different,
Yeah.
body type. Yeah. That's
Ah,
considered
there goes my
attractive.
illusion.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like completely tearing. Danette, if I can just like tear down Dancing with the Stars one person at a time, I will be so. My husband's family love that show, and they're like, "Don't talk to Lana." They're like afraid of me. I'm like, "Don't watch that show. They're horrible." Like his grandma, my husband's grandma, will call me such a nice person, and I'd start talking to her, and she's like, "Lana, I gotta go see Dancing with the Stars." I'm like, "No, nanny, don't watch it. They're awful." She's like, I gotta go. She'd be like Seinfeld, like a Chinese food is here, anything
They're
to get
eating
away
off,
from me.
stay away.
Yeah, stay away.
Oh man. Well,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sure that you being number 7 in the US, that must mean that you're super competitive as well. Like that must mean that you have it in you to be at that level of competition.
Danette, I love talking to you. I'm sorry. I'm so not competitive. I hated that whole culture. I guess I was when I was doing it because I was like a teenager and a kid, and like I like it was like my self-worth. But I found out like one of the reasons I got into comedy is because of like amazing comedians and people like you. Like I say, find like a lot of comics are so generous and like humble, whereas like a lot of the competitors are like they just think they're such amazing
They have to keep
people.
up
And
a
yeah,
facade. They have to keep up a
facade,
facade.
and they're
Yeah.
like, and they're just so bitter and
Oh,
not interesting, and so pretentious and full of themselves. It's like hard to talk with them. They think they're like celebrities that can't be bothered, and it's like, ugh,
it's
you
unlike
know.
the fashion industry.
Yes, it is. Yeah, very so. Yes, yes. But
I used
dumber. These people are dumber. But anyways,
Yeah.
yeah.
I used to work in fashion and I loved it because I was into like good clothing, and when I was younger it was all about labels, like that, like
Mm,
whatever labels you wore represented like your status or your ability of to get wealth or be wealthy. So I subscribed to
oh,
that for a few, and I remember I was working for a couple of fashion houses, and
mm,
everybody was just so cold and
yeah,
mean and fake.
yeah,
It was really obvious to me, and I was thinking I was trying to be like myself, and there was just no room
yeah.
for that. There was no room for like kindness. There
No,
was no room for sincerity. And in order for you to
yeah,
succeed, you had to play this game of like bitchiness and like
yes,
backstabbing and like gossiping. And I was like, no.
yeah,
So I got
yeah.
out. Yeah.
That is the worst sickening part. It's really, yeah. I don't know how these people live with themselves.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I have a few friends that are photographers and I
Mm,
love their work and they work in this industry, right? And I'm
mm,
just thinking, I don't know, like they kind of balance it out within
mm.
themselves, right? Like
That's not, yeah.
maybe, or maybe they're miserable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess if you can find that balance, and hey, who knows, maybe they're kind of changing the industry a little bit by trying to be more themselves.
Yeah, because
So,
there's something
yeah.
to be said about like these women, these dancers, right? Like they're
Yeah.
like as according to you or from your
Yeah.
experience, they
Yeah.
are like bitter and like just mean-spirited people.
Yeah.
But maybe like alongside that, there's the other side of that is like they're also creating like beauty. They're also like like the
Mm,
movement and like you can see as an audience member, you can see how they're what our bodies are capable of doing, right?
Yeah, yeah. But to me, that's so like ironic. Like you're acting so beautiful on the outside, but you're so ugly on the inside. I don't know. To me, it's. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess I find that humorous.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like life. Like I
yeah,
the dichotomy of it. It's like, like for
yeah.
example, Woody, what's his name?
Woody Allen.
Woody Allen, right? Like he's
Yeah,
accused of all these awful, ugly
yeah,
things, but then,
yeah,
like he does produce gorgeous films. So it's like, how can a
yeah.
person that does commit these awful crimes and has these awful behaviors, how is he able to produce this beauty? So it's
That's
interesting. Like,
yeah. It is. Yeah, yeah. Just a juxtaposition of things. Yeah, yeah. I looked that up before the interview.
nice, nice.
Yeah. That's
So
interesting.
how have you been? You're like, I don't know if I buy this.
Like, just be a good person, God damn it. Yeah, no, no.
I hear you.
You're right.
I feel
Yeah.
like maybe that's something that I do to just like make myself feel better. Because then
Mm,
if I walk around feeling like everyone's like a monster, that I'm gonna keep
yeah.
seeing more monsters. And I probably it's more for like self-care, kind of like seeing that there's two things to everyone.
That's a good way. Yeah. And I do too. I do too as well. Cause yeah, you can't be like every single person I like and admire their work. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm with you.
They're evil
Not
monsters.
everybody, not everybody. And I gotta say, I don't know if I should keep saying it, but like a lot of comics, they really are very like humble because it's such a difficult craft to master and you're constantly in front of people. You don't know what each performance is going to bring. So they're like really, incredibly talented people and also very like they've been really humbled and
It sounds like you're talking to really
generous.
good comics. Like,
Maybe this is what I tell myself. Maybe like you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So how long have you been performing stand up?
Stand up. So it's been already 6.5 years. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. How about you? Because you're set. I was so.
I think I'm on 7. I think I'm either 6.5, 6 or 7 as well.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
7 in August for me. Yeah. I feel like that's when you start to get really like they say 8 to 10 years, and I really think it's true to get like decent. It really is like a sentence
Yeah.
to get to.
I always had a
Yeah.
problem with that. Like when I started, people would say, "Oh,
Mm.
it's going to take you 10 years," because that's what Jerry Seinfeld has said. And I just thought that was inaccurate because I thought, well, what if you were a child actor? Like, what if you came
Yeah.
into comedy with like all these other expertise? Like, what if you were a marketing director? Like,
Yeah.
would it really take you 10 years? Like,
Yeah.
couldn't you literally just do this and like, use all your talents to like blow it? But I get it because it's true. Like, the more I do stand up, the more things unlock, right? Like,
Yeah. 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 I like what you're saying too. And I do agree with you. Like, cause I feel like you're an actor as well, or
I
you've acted. Yeah.
do
Yeah.
some acting. I get
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get the
So
craft.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think that definitely helped. Like my first set, it definitely helped my first set having that acting background. But still, I think comedy is the hardest and most vulnerable. Like comedy and singing, you're really just out there by yourself. So I think, yeah, the whole, premise and punchline and then delivery, that whole package and knowing how to work different crowds, it really does take years
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have seen some comics though that they're like 2 years in and they're already like headlining and they're already doing stuff. But again, that only
I've
speaks
seen
to their
that too.
talent. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that, and it is more rare, and I agree with you. I've seen that, but then you never know where that takes them in like 4 years. Maybe they'll quit in 4 years because they're like, all this and it
Yeah.
happens quick. So it's kind of everyone is very different. And then I do see somebody is amazing after 2 years, but I still see like they're not quite comfortable. You just get something about kind of living on stage. You
Yeah.
kind of see, and I'm sure you see it as well. Like, oh, this one's been doing it for like 4 years. That one's been like 8 or 9. You
Yeah.
kind of feel it.
I love it when I watch a comic perform and I completely stop analyzing and I just go into their set. Like I'm like entertained. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Like, it's a beautiful thing to see. Yeah.
I'm glad you're saying that. Yeah, exactly. With like any kind of movie too, when you're like taken out that it's a movie and it's an actor and you're actually in the, yeah, that's the best.
It's a really good, like, oh shit, I got
Yeah.
more work to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was I
Yeah.
gonna ask you? I was gonna ask you about what are three things that you love about stand up?
Hmm. Um, oh, that's a great question. Because there's honestly so much. Number one, I love hearing people laugh. I like distracting them and I like them actually like enjoying themselves. That is the best feeling. I do like a lot of the comedians. I feel like, especially when I started out, I do feel like they do provide this certain support. And I love that, like, you know, we get to be around comedians who have been doing it for like 20 years and are incredible. And they're like, oh yeah, sure, I'll come to your whatever. Sure. And Mike, I'll give you advice. It's like, what? You're this big deal and you're this, that to me is really um inspiring. And number three, yeah, I like performing. I like I don't know, when something lands and like connecting with people like you. But I guess I'm saying all the same thing. I guess I don't have a clear third one.
No, I think that was
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
wait, what was the third one? The third one was connecting.
yeah, yeah.
Connecting, that's
Connecting.
good. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
hearing laughter is different, right? Hearing laughter like
Yes.
tickles the senses. Like, I just,
Yeah. Yeah.
that is so cool.
Yeah.
And what are three things that you, I used to ask, like, what are three things you don't like about stand up? And I think I'm going to change that to what are three things you're looking forward to in stand up?
It's a good question. Three things. You know, I guess one of the biggest goals for all of us, and I guess first of all, to constantly be hired, and possibly, I feel like the next step, and I know everybody has a different opinion on it, but like to go on the road and really get a following, and really get work kind of all over. I always wanted to do a road trip, anyways, but really connect with everybody in the country and get a following, and then I guess number two would be, to get a late night TV spot. That would be amazing. And number three, see all the hard working people kind of like around, my generation really come up as well and really
Oh, that's
become,
beautiful.
yeah. I mean, that's really, I feel like, I don't know, when you have that give and take, it makes things better for you. I do hear a lot of comedians like, oh, I don't want this one to succeed. I'm like, well, that's not really good for you either. It's not. Why did you get into this then? If you're competing, it's not a competition, really.
Yeah. I like
Even though
that,
it seems like that. Yeah.
I like that somebody was like honest with you enough to say that.
Yeah. I heard a set, somebody say that in the set. I'm like, well, that's sad because it's not gonna be, you're gonna be stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. Like there are a lot of times when I see someone succeed, I'm like, yes, because in my
Yeah.
head, I'm like, that means I'm next, or that means that
Yeah.
their happiness is kind of my happiness because we're friends or something, like.
I feel the same way. I feel like we're kind of all gonna elevate, like really get ourselves out of that bucket. All the crabs are gonna versus keeping. I really feel like it is that, especially in the comedy world.
Yeah, that's so
There's
positive.
I try. I
So I
try.
think this, but I rarely hear other people say this. So it's really a pleasure to be speaking to you.
Oh wow, thank you.
Yeah.
I brainwash myself every day. I say this mantra and it's really like I'm internalizing at this point, which is good.
Yeah. So you're a fellow Brooklynite. I grew up in I was born in
Yeah.
and I was raised in Park Slope, which is funny.
Yeah.
But it's funny because when I lived in Park Slope, I wanted to get out of Park Slope. I don't know why.
I hate Park Slope so much.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We hate.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
We will do anything to not live in Park Slope. And I'm sorry you had to go through that.
It wasn't awful. It was just there was something in my little being that was like, I don't want to be here. Like I want to move out.
I think I finally found my comedy soulmate, and it's you. And it's really hard to describe to people all the layouts of Brooklyn and growing up. Like I don't think Park Slope was as bad, but I think now it's literally the national Karens of the world. And I know people like don't, but it's really just everybody has a complaint and they are entitled. And I got to tell you, like I lived on the Upper East Side for 2 years because it was like closer to our work. And we lived in like a little studio, but I would get fights with every single older entitled person there. it was nobody has any manners. Everybody's like so nobody would hold doors, nobody would say thank you.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was intolerable. Like my husband would be like, do you have to get into a fight every single day? But he's also Brookline, so he's like, yeah, I get it. But we had to move out. It was just not,
That's a good
yeah.
point. That is a good
Horrible people.
point. Yeah, I just moved apartments, so like in February, and I realized in this new apartment how I was in a toxic relationship with my old apartment. Um, because everyone in that building was unfriendly. Like they were just always
Yeah,
like angry and stuff. And I saw
yeah,
it, and in my head, I didn't realize that if I'm not careful, I don't know, like I
yeah,
just got used to that treatment, and
yeah,
it's not a treatment anyone should get used to. And that's what I realized. I'm like, damn, like my environment kind of
yeah,
created this like unkind, bitter like,
yeah,
so it's interesting that you were basically pushing back when you saw that. Um
yeah.
I was pushing back, but then I think I just gave into it, and I like that you
Hmm.
kind of were like, bye.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I'm like thankful to my husband for like kind of supporting me, but and I think he kind of liked living there a little bit, but yeah, with all my hostility and fights, we couldn't stay in that neighborhood. I'd say things like, I'm from Brooklyn, you want to mess with me? I know, and I look so white. I'm like such a white pale lady. Like, you want to fuck with me today? So it was a lot of that, which, like, my heart starts beating, the adrenaline gets going. I'm like, I'm one step away from them calling the cops on me.
Right. And
Yeah.
just because they didn't take the 2 seconds to acknowledge that there's a human being behind them, or a
Yeah.
human being. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really upsetting. So good for you
Yeah.
for pushing back.
I appreciate it's gonna get me in trouble. Like a comedian, Lana Siebel, if they say comedian or a troublemaker. But Crown Heights, we moved in before it got gentrified. And everybody the neighbors were so nice. Everybody like held doors. Like the drug dealer was the nicest guy in the world. Like I'm saying, like honestly, I hope he's like doing well, because he was like the sweetest. He would always ask about our day, and
Aw.
yeah, it's the system. Yeah, but anyways, I'm not
So are
gonna
you
go into
planning on
that. Yeah.
staying in Crown Heights? Is that like your home base for now?
Yeah, I like it, except we've been like paying rent for a gazillion years now, and it's just, I don't know, I'm surprised that that it didn't get cheaper during the pandemic. And just so we're trying to figure it out. But buying is like insanely, we don't have that money, because I'm like doing comedy full time now, so we're trying to figure it out. But yeah, I can't imagine moving anywhere else.
That's good.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. And are you in Brooklyn too now, or?
so no, now I'm in Queens. I'm in
Oh,
Forest
I like
Hills.
Queens. Oh, I
Yeah.
like Forest. Oh, cool.
I'm in
Yeah.
Forest Hills. It's nice. When I was looking for a new apartment, I was trying to like go back to Brooklyn, and then I thought,
Mm.
I don't really know how they're managing their COVID pandemic procedures.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
it's been so long since I lived there. I was like, let me just hang out in the neighborhood that I'm familiar with. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, like how have you been taking care of yourself? Like what have
Hmm.
been like your self-care routines?
That's a great question. I think the thing that helped me, I'm trying to think, was hiding in the bathroom. No, that's
Honest.
yeah. I think that as weird as it is, but like doing the virtual comedy every day, writing every day, interviews like with you, like things like that kind of work, where I could feel like I'm getting better at comedy every day is productive. That to me, that the work is kind of something that really helps me to stay sane.
Mhm.
um
What about
yeah.
exercise and like
Yeah.
diet or like bath? Do you take baths? And when you're hiding in the
um
bathroom?
yeah, we can't really take a bath in my, this is why we have to think about the living situation. We can't, but I guess like really our routine is like my son got into Seinfeld, so we watch Seinfeld every night before, which is really fun.
That's so
um
sweet. That's such
yeah,
a
yeah,
nice like family ritual, basically.
yeah, except it's so funny, because then you start talking about like Seinfeld, you think it's such an innocent show, but then we have to like discuss Nazis and menage a trois and like all this stuff that comes up that we're like, oh my God, we didn't know Seinfeld makes us, discuss all this stuff.
All those controversial
Yeah.
topics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool though. Your kid
Yeah.
must be like so advanced.
He's definitely he's got a lot of great like very succinct jokes that he's like, it's mine, he can't take it, and I'm like, oh, this would be perfect.
You're like, come on, maybe
come
you have to
on.
pay him. Maybe you have to pay him like $5
I
a
tried.
joke. Oh, you did?
I tried exactly that. He's like, I can't be bought. So he's got dignity, but he'll lose that soon. So.
Oh my God, God bless you. Wow.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Wow, that's amazing. I can't
yeah, I tried.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So when you set out to travel, like when this whole thing is over, is there a state or a city that you look forward to performing in?
Oh, that's a great question. Wow. Honestly, anywhere around would be great. And anywhere I'll perform in the summer and whatever. Well, I performed last year. No, not last year. It was 2 years ago already. We went in the summer to LA, and I got to perform in California, which was really cool. Yeah, it was Fourth Wall, which is supposed to be like a really cool spot. So and it was like, I guess it would be like 3 a.m. New York time. It was like 12 a.m. And it is by like a gas station, but I was so excited. Like my son and husband were like, oh, great. 1 a.m. you're performing at a gas station. Good luck. But I was like the happiest. Yeah, it's in LA and nobody has to know, whatever. It's Fourth Wall. It's a pretty big deal. So I think I do think performing outside of New York, you really do get a sense of people's needs and what they want to hear. It really does make you better.
Fun. Yeah. I performed the first time I performed in California. I performed at the Comedy Store, and
cool.
And it's funny because that was like 5 years ago, and it's now that I'm in. So I feel like when you start anything, there's a naivety, like am I saying this right? Like I wanted to perform at the Comedy Store. I wanted to perform on certain shows, so that's what I did. And
that's awesome.
And so now I'm being in stand-up, and everybody puts like, oh, the Comedy Store, oh, the Cellar. Like there's so much like hype. Hype that you kind of start to form doubts, like, oh, why would I? And it's like, I didn't have those doubts when I started. It was like, I'm going to give the best that I have, and hopefully they'll receive it. But it was a good experience. It was fun to perform because you get to see where they laugh. Where they laugh is usually different, I found.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I would have a bit and I would expect the laughter to come, and then there would be no laughter. And then it would come like seconds later, or it would come as I'm telling the joke. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I know. Sometimes it was like my like premise or the very beginning that it was like kind of a throwaway line. That would get the biggest laugh of the night. I'm like, how does this? So you start to develop differently as well, or just think bigger maybe.
Yeah. And then when you travel, so I also performed in Chicago, and when I performed in Chicago, I noticed that a lot of the comics, their topics were about like death and suicide and like reading novels. And in LA was a lot of like jokes about like people's experiences, like going for tryouts and going out to restaurants and like, and the highway, there was a lot of highway jokes. So it's interesting how each state has different. I think New York has racism, right?
Yes, there's a lot.
Every comic has a joke about racism or something.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And then, like you said, looping us back, every male comedian, something about his penis. It's like a standard. That's international.
Yeah.
That's
Did you get used to that when you first started? Like all the talk about like sex, like it was really like in the beginning, it was, for me, I was having fun. And then there came a period where like, I would be the only woman at an open mic. And then it was just like constant dick jokes. And I noticed at some point the guys try to up another, like there's always an alpha male. And if that alpha male is talking about the most vulgar stuff, all the other male comics would try to top it. And I remember one mic I left and my ears were like, I'm like, oh my God. it was so vulgar. And then
That's so funny.
I met up with a friend that particular week, and I just kept dropping pussy, fuck, shit. And he's like, what? He's like, who are you right now?
um, that's really funny. You know what? I think I would just naturally tune off, which I'm very grateful for, that I would like completely tune that out for some reason. What really bothered me was the whole like, oh, you white girl. And I'm like, you know what? You're a fucking little pussy. I'm actually from Brooklyn. You know, I'm a refugee. And like just by my appearance, the way they like put me down because I'm a woman and I'm very pale. And that would be like, and also like, you know, just not well written Nazi jokes. I'm like, I can do a better, and just like things like that. I'm like, not, you know, you're not funny, and you're like insulting me because you think you're so tough and you're like from a suburb, you know. By the way, like you're from East New York. That's legit. That's where I came when I first came to America. My family lived in East New York.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
and that's the real deal. Like now they're trying to make it like, oh, look at these luxurious buildings. No, East New York is like one of the toughest neighborhoods, and you know, we'd visit them and like our car would get like you know, vandalized somehow. So and like yeah, that was like my first like insight to America. I was like, oh my god, I'm not in Ukraine anymore. What is that? Like they'd be like all these like, a rapist is loose. I'm like, I can't take that. I was 7, you know. I was like, yeah. No, you grew up. So I you know, guys are messing with from like some suburbia are like, yeah, you white, like that really bothers me to no end.
So
Yeah.
you were able, but are you able to shut it out, or that still kind of seeps in sometime?
Yeah, it's less the penis jokes, it's more the like them just discriminating and
Because
not knowing, and because I'm a woman, because I'm so pale, as they think all of a
you're
sudden like a
attractive.
woman's weak. Yeah. Then they're like all of a sudden they're trying to like put you down and make you look like you're haven't been through anything, you're weak, or like, yeah, right away, like, oh, Karen and this, and like it's like, you know, shut up, that you're only insulting because you're not so I never try to be mean to anybody, but you know, because they're so insecure that they find somebody who they think is like actually kind to like put down, and weaker. Yeah.
Yeah. Or what they think is weaker. Yeah.
Weaker. Yeah. That to me is like, yeah.
How do you manage that? Like, do you like go home and journal like this motherfucker?
Well, after I have my like, I get red and enraged, like, nah, I really try to like just get funnier, better material. I try to say something that like doesn't attack, because I always think that doesn't like end well when you like attack them. They're like, oh, she's a real asshole, whatever. I think I try to come off much stronger and just get much funnier material, and like kind of, I don't know. I think I overwork it. I should probably just be mean.
No, I mean, if
Yeah,
it's working for you, I mean, you still have a
yeah.
sweetness and a gentleness about you. So
I appreciate it.
if it's because that's how you're
Yeah,
transforming all that
yeah.
basically negativity, then it's working for you. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I just try to get much funnier and be much better than them. So
That's really
yeah,
healthy.
yeah. Well, I try. I don't know if it actually works, and I'm still very angry. But yeah, my son has said I have a lot of anger issues, which I think is good for comedy.
Your son
Yeah,
said this?
yeah. He's
Oh,
like, everybody thinks you're so nice, but you've got a lot of issues. You got a lot of anger.
okay. Well, you're also a New Yorker, right?
Yeah.
So, and a
Yeah.
woman living in America.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like you have,
Yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I feel like people have said that I'm angry too, and I'm like, no, I'm not.
Fuck you, motherfucker.
Yeah, and then I'm like, oh man, like I don't like sometimes I don't think I'm angry, but I am. Like I'm so angry you left. She left. She was like, I don't have time for this. See, when I go to like talk about my anger, people don't want to deal with it. Okay, here she's back.
Hey, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh.
It was appropriate. It was appropriate. I
I'm
was just
so
saying
sorry. No, my parents keep calling me every time I have a show or anything that needs to be done. They keep calling when I beg them not to. But yeah, that's.
Aw.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just saying how no one cares when I'm angry. No.
I love. I was gonna tell you. I think some of the best comedians are the angry ones, and when you channel that correctly, that's what we're there for people to relate to us, to like get in touch with our feelings. I think anger is really powerful.
I'm gonna take that and put it in my pocket and reflect
Yeah.
on it later.
Yeah. I like anger. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you have a couple of more minutes?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Please. Yeah.
So the transforming of the anger, how do you rectify it? Because my concern is that whenever I express anger, I love it, like, because it's out of me. But then I realize that now I've left a bad impression on someone, or now I could have possibly hurt someone. And then like I just have, actually that's all a lie. My concern is that sometimes if I'm working off the energy of anger, I feel that I attract more opportunities for more anger. So if I'm like, if I'm, yeah, that's,
Yeah. And no, I like what you're saying, because I honestly, I still, it's something that I try to work on and think about a lot, but I still really don't know how to handle it myself. And I think I'm still trying to because I feel like when I do little spurts where I did like really let it out, it would be funny. It wouldn't be like, I in my mind, because I guess I like learned to repress it, because like in my family it was like, oh, you're angry, that's it, it's like the worst thing, like that doesn't exist, but talking about it, that's going to be a whole other session. But oy, oy, oy.
do you have siblings?
I have a brother who's 10 and a half years older, and I know you have 4.
Or,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. And you're the oldest out
I'm
of
the
the
oldest, yeah. And I feel
wow.
like that just comes out sometimes when I'm talking to people, like I'll mother them, or like I'll be like, how are you? And I'm like,
I love that. I love
they're like, I'm a grown
that's
person, leave me
yeah.
alone. I'm like, I just want to make sure you're okay.
I love that. I think that's such a like, I don't know, sweet thing. I
Yeah.
don't yeah.
Are you and your brother close?
Well, because he's 10 and a half years apart. And so when we came here, I was 7, he was already 17 and a half.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so it was he was already like kind of was working and trying to go to college. And I was trying to figure out how to speak English, and
Yeah.
just so we had very different and then he moved out like in his early 20s. So but I'm close with my nieces. They're like 20 and 22. So
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
And they
I
probably
wanna
keep you young, right?
yeah. I'm hoping I'm their cool aunt, and they love my son because he's
Oh,
hilarious. Yeah. So I feel like I'm connected more with them, with that generation.
mhm. And
Um
you came from the Ukraine?
Ukraine, yeah,
Who
yeah.
are your neighbors in the
Uh,
Ukraine?
oh, that's a good question. I guess Russia was like we're like pretty much on the border between, it was like 10 minutes away, the border. I mean, Siberia, I guess, but yeah, Russia was pretty much right there.
Mhm. So
Um,
have you been back?
I've been, so even though my husband's not Russian, his friend moved here, a childhood friend, and then he decided to move back to Moscow. And then I went twice to his wedding in Moscow. But I was terrified to go because, so we came here, and I do this part in my stand-up because it was like incredibly an anti-Semitic country then.
Okay.
I now I know the president is like a Jewish comedian, which is really absurd. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He does like improv. But by the way, I listened to his material. It's still very anti-Semitic, even though he's Jewish.
That's
It's so
funny.
weird. It's still,
FYI, it's still
it's
anti-Semitic.
still, yeah, exactly. He just talks about how cheap Jews are. I'm like, okay, you need better writers. Maybe,
Yeah.
Danette and I can help. But yeah, so like my passport, it didn't even say citizen. They try to like put you down, so it just like it says Jewish on it. It's kind of crazy, and like you could, like, my brother had to hide if he got into a college, and I couldn't talk about like we got like a TV and a VCR in the house, and we couldn't talk because the government could take all your belongings. So it was a
This was in the
very
Ukraine.
it was in Ukraine, yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
some of the things my parents tell me, it's like unreal. It feels like hundreds of years ago. Yeah,
Do your
that
parents love America?
they love America. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like,
So
oh,
much
thanks God,
freedom.
I do a speech. Yeah, thanks God, America, everything, all the opportunities, and yeah,
Yeah.
they're all about they're all about America. And, it was scary living there day to day because you don't know what's going to happen. If everything can be taken away.
Yeah. And then just like hiding everything, like not being able to express yourself.
Yes.
It's very oppressive.
Very oppressive. Again, we could spend a lot of time, but yeah, like my great grandfather was like a revolutionary, and
oh, nice.
Yeah, he was like, I love the Germans. The Germans aren't going to get us, and he was like the first one to be put away into the camps. So my parents always tell me that story. He's like, don't trust anyone. They always say like, thank you for anytime like things are going well, and I like talk well about people. Like, oh, look what happened to your great grandfather.
Wait, tell that story again. So he was. Go ahead.
He was, according to my mom, I don't know. Sure. I feel like she's a really great storyteller.
We'll call her up later to fact check.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's such a great storyteller that I don't know which part is a lie or which part is an exaggeration.
Okay.
But yeah, she said she hung out with Trotsky, and he was like, the family was incredibly wealthy, and he, according to the way she tells it, like he was like all for the people, and he wasn't a great man either, but he was like just trying to fight for everybody. And I think he lived in Germany for a little while, and he came back, and he was like, oh, the Germans, they're great. They're my friends. They're not going to harm me. And then he was like shipped off in a van. Yeah.
So what's her more like, what's the word?
Don't trust anyone ever. Because you will be persecuted in some way. So I'm telling you, yeah.
So is that true? So I used to work with a bunch of Russian women, and they taught me.
I'm just kidding.
They were tough as nails, and they also shared with me how, I think jewelry was something that was portable, because if all your stuff was taken, you can wear your jewelry on you when you travel. So they taught me little things. But one of them was just like being slick with people, like how I used to work at a home health aid company, and we had to hire home health aides to be with patients. And a lot of their clients or people that worked for the Russian women would come in with like gifts of chocolates and flowers and stuff. And there was like this unspoken
bribery.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they did it so smoothly. And then they were like, Danette, you need to try it. And so I had to do something I had to go to some sort of office, and I went with chocolates to this stranger that I've never met, but I knew she was going to help me, and I knew that it would help me more if I gave her chocolates, and I gave it to her, and she helped me. Like, she was so nice, and I was like, oh my God, this shit works. Like,
I love how like you like some of the Russian Jewish traditions, and I'm like trying to be Latina with the dancing and like how we've switched up.
It's got good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we're lucky that we did grow up in New York. But yeah, the whole bribery thing is like in the Jewish culture, it's even called, like, if you don't bring anything to the house, that's like the worst insult. It's called a schnorrer. That's somebody, the schnorrer. That's like a hobo scumbag who didn't bring anything. They just like takes. And so I would always bring, like when I first met my husband, and they're like, you don't have to bring every time you come over. It's so strange that you bring something. Yeah.
So did you eventually stop?
Eventually I stopped, but it was like, it was kind of really comical at first. Like,
that is so funny.
Yeah.
I never considered it bribery, but yeah, I guess that's what it was.
Yeah, I think so.
Because they made it look so cool. I was like, oh
yeah. Yeah, it's like, so even when I was little, like I remember, like I had a bully in school when I was 7, and then like my parents like bring her stickers, so I had to like bribe her, bring her, like, here you go. Oh. Yeah, it's really.
Did it work? Did she back off?
Yeah, I think she stopped. I think you're right. Yeah. It's really weird.
Little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to be okay with it. You have to be okay, because like I remember in the beginning, I was like, I'm not lying. I'm not going to bring you chocolates because this is false. Right?
Yeah.
It's not sincere.
Yeah.
And then I realized, you know what? I really need this paperwork to be done and correctly. So let me bring the chocolates. And I was like, here you go.
It really works. It really.
But you really need to own it. Like, you really need to.
Yeah. It has to come from your heart. Yes, you got to really want
or
that
your
bribe.
mind. Like you just have to be committed to like.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really glad you picked up on that. That's a big one. That is.
Oh my goodness. So we're gonna like close up here. This was fun. Thank you
This
so
is so
much.
much fun. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
I look forward to see, do you have any shows this weekend or this week or this
I
month?
do. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I feel, yeah, very lucky. I have a AMG festival on Monday
Oh,
coming up,
that's
and then, oh, thank you, yeah, and then Flappers Comedy Club Uncle Clyde's contest, that's
yeah.
also coming up, I think. And I'm also going to start, so I would do my mics and shows Can't Knock the Hustle, and after Jay-Z, and I'm going to start them back hopefully March 16th. I'm going to start back, and hopefully I could have you one of the days. I'll have it every week. Yeah, that'd be great. So I'm looking forward to that. So, and then Tiny Cupboard I host as well on Wednesdays, and live, and then virtually on Thursdays. So again, I'll get in contact with you because I would love to have you.
Busy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And I know you have Mallory's show today live. I'm so
do.
excited.
I actually just canceled.
Oh, okay.
I canceled.
Sorry,
So you
yeah.
want to call her for the spot. I feel like I need to say this, but like I had acupuncture done yesterday. And so like today, even though I'm wearing lip gloss and have my hair done, like I'm feeling a little out of it. And and it takes me like 2 trains to get there. So I was like, you know what? I love stand up, but I think it's better if I stay in.
Especially now with all that's going on still. It's
cold,
smart.
It's windy. I'm a little under the weather.
Yeah.
But it's funny. It's funny because I was struggling with the decision for like the last 24 hours, which is the worst.
No, you know what? It just helps you at all. Like I would never ever cancel, but since this whole year, there was a few things that I had to, like I struggle with, but I'm like, I'm not feeling great. And it's also a pandemic. Like I have to, your health is number one. Like it's still scary.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I had to tell myself, look, you've gone to shows when it's like 1 degree outside.
I know.
You're committed. This is fine.
I know. I travel at like right before the pandemic, like 2 a.m. from like the last stop in Harlem to like the last stop in Brooklyn. So like I'm canceling this, like, but it's a pandemic. So
that's commitment.
Yeah.
What?
I know. I'm like, or just like craziness, but yeah, either one.
That's hardcore. Are you more on Instagram, YouTube? Like where can people, if they want to follow you, where can they find you?
Oh, thank you. I'm kind of trying to do more Instagram, and hopefully I'll have for my show as a handle as well. And yeah, TikTok, I have to really commit to doing more, since I already sold my soul. And I was also like you said, I like for months I was struggling. I'm like, do I want China to know all my information? I don't know. All right, but whatever. It's not that interesting. But I struggled with it too. I don't know. But yeah, I think I have to get more on TikTok, but now it's mainly Instagram, and a bit on Facebook. I post all the stories and information about shows. So it's Lana Siebel at Lana Siebel.
Okay. So Facebook, Instagram. Are you on Twitter?
I'm not on Twitter.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You have a husband and a kid. We
get it. It feels a little bit, I like Twitter, but it feels a little bit like maybe just me, like it's going to get into a whole argumentative. And I'm like, I don't want,
it's a thing. I like it just because it's like, you just words, putting words together.
Everything I put on Instagram, I should really put on Twitter. Cause like, I just do I do words. So I should do that, which is,
some people have gotten jobs from Twitter, like writing.
That's amazing. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's a positive thing to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But thank you so much for chatting.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure. I'm totally staying in touch, and it's nice to native Brooklynite, and just I feel like there's so much in common, and somebody who, has a hatred for certain neighborhoods just as much as me. It's very nice.
You have a shorthand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a good night. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Guys, if you like this interview, please subscribe, like, and share. And thank you, Lana, for joining us. Bye.
Thank you.